What does it take to rise from nothing and become one of the most recognized names on the planet? What does it take to turn pain, rejection, and hardship into fuel for greatness? This is not just the story of a football player. This is the story of a boy who had nothing but a dream, a boy who was told he wasn't good enough, who was laughed at for being too skinny, who was doubted by coaches, mocked by rivals, and even questioned by his own teammates. Yet that same boy went on to become Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the greatest athletes the world has ever seen, a name that echoes in stadiums, a legacy written in history, and a symbol of what is possible when you refuse to give up. Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro was born on February 5, 1985, on the small island of Madeira, Portugal. His father was a gardener and a kit man at a local football club. His mother was a cook and a cleaner, and life was not easy. The family lived in a small home, cramped with very little money, and Ronaldo grew up knowing what it meant to struggle. He shared a room with his siblings, food was often scarce, and his family couldn't afford luxuries. But one thing gave him joy: football. From the moment he could walk, Ronaldo was kicking anything he could find, whether it was a ball, a bottle, or even fruit. The streets of Madeira became his training ground. Barefoot, hungry but driven, he dreamed of something bigger. At just 8 years old, Ronaldo joined his first local club, Madeira, where his father worked as a kit man. Coaches quickly noticed his speed and skills, but talent alone wasn't enough. His family had no money to support a career in football. He would have to fight for every opportunity. When he was just 12 years old, he made a decision that would change his life. He left his family, his island, his comfort, and traveled alone to Lisbon to join Sporting Lisbon's academy. Imagine being 12, leaving your parents, your friends, your entire world just to chase a dream. Ronaldo did that, and it wasn't glamorous. He lived in a hostel with other young players, cried himself to sleep because he missed home, and his family couldn't visit often. Sometimes he would call his mother crying, telling her he wanted to come back, but deep inside he knew this sacrifice was necessary. At the academy, things weren't easier. He was smaller than most kids, teased for his accent, mocked for being from Madeira, bullied for being skinny, and coaches questioned if he was strong enough to survive at the top level. But Ronaldo had something no one could measure: hunger. While other kids slept, Ronaldo stayed behind to train. While others laughed, he practiced. He was relentless, he refused to be ordinary, and that hunger separated him from everyone else. Then at just 15 years old, something happened that could have ended his dream forever. Doctors discovered he had a heart condition, tachycardia. His heart would beat dangerously fast, and without surgery, he could never play football again. For a boy who lived for the game, this was devastating. Imagine training your whole life for something, and being told it might all end before you even begin. But Ronaldo didn't panic, he didn't surrender, and he underwent surgery. Weeks later, he was back on the field. Not slower, not weaker, but stronger, hungrier, and more determined than ever before. His talent exploded at Sporting Lisbon. Coaches saw a player who wasn't just fast, he was unstoppable. By the time he was 16, he was already training with Sporting's first team, and at 17, he made his debut. People began to whisper his name. They knew this boy from Madeira was different. And then came the night that changed everything. On August 6, 2003, a friendly match between Sporting Lisbon and Manchester United gave the world a glimpse of the future. Cristiano Ronaldo was just 18 years old, and that night he destroyed Manchester United's defense. His dribbling, his speed, his confidence, everything left the English giants in shock. The United players were so impressed that after the match, they begged their manager, Sir Alex Ferguson, to sign him. Days later, Cristiano Ronaldo joined Manchester United.
He had made it to the big stage, but the story was only beginning.
Moving to England wasn't easy. Ronaldo was young, skinny, and spoke little English. The Premier League was rough, physical, and unforgiving. Opponents mocked him, fans booed him, and critics said he was just a showboater. All tricks and no substance. But what they didn't realize was Ronaldo was studying, he was learning, he was building himself. He hit the gym, added muscle to his frame, trained harder than anyone else, stayed after practice working on free kicks, finishing and dribbling, and he refused to let criticism break him. By his second and third seasons, Ronaldo had transformed. He became stronger, sharper, more lethal. He turned doubt into dominance. In 2006, he was no longer the skinny kid from Madeira. He had become one of Manchester United's most important players. His speed terrified defenders, his goals electrified fans, and his work ethic inspired teammates. By 2007 and 2008, he wasn't just good, he was unstoppable. And in 2008, Cristiano Ronaldo won his first Ballon d'Or from a small island, boy who cried himself to sleep. He had risen to become the best player in the world, but Ronaldo was far from finished. In 2009, he made a record-breaking move to Real Madrid for $80 million, the most expensive transfer at that time. This was his dream, to play for Real Madrid, to wear the iconic white shirt, to step into the Santiago Bernabeu as a Galactico. But with dreams come expectations, and with expectations come pressure. Many doubted if he was worth the money. Many believed he couldn't live up to the hype. But Cristiano Ronaldo had already built himself to handle doubt. And in Madrid, he would go on to prove he wasn't just great, he was legendary. While most players celebrated fame, Ronaldo lived differently. He trained harder than anyone else, always the first to arrive and the last to leave. His diet, his sleep, his recovery, everything was designed for one purpose: to be the best. Teammates told stories of him staying after training to perfect his free kicks, of him working out when others rested, of him watching his performances over and over again to find flaws. Ronaldo became a machine, and that machine was built on one core belief: never give up. At Real Madrid, Cristiano Ronaldo did not just play football, he redefined it. Every match was a stage, every touch of the ball a statement, every goal a declaration that greatness comes to those who never settle. The pressure of the world's most expensive transfer could have crushed him, but instead it fueled him. Season after season, he shattered records, silenced critics, and raised the standards of the game. In just his first season, he scored over 30 goals. And that was only the beginning. Year after year, his numbers grew to the point where people stopped being surprised by his brilliance, because brilliance became his normal. He wasn't just competing against defenders, he was competing against history itself. But success never comes without challenges. Every time he scored, new critics emerged. Every time he won, new doubters appeared, and every time he broke records, new comparisons tried to define him. But Ronaldo was not interested in comparisons. He was interested in becoming the best version of himself. He faced Lionel Messi in what became the greatest rivalry football has ever seen. For over a decade, they pushed each other to levels nobody thought possible. When Messi scored, Ronaldo answered. When Ronaldo lifted a trophy, Messi fought back with his own. This battle was not about hate, it was about excellence. Two legends side by side. But Ronaldo's story was always about proving that talent without hard work is nothing. He showed the world that success is not an accident, it is a decision. At Real Madrid, he became the club's all-time leading scorer, with over 450 goals in just 438 games. He won 4 Champions League titles with them, 3 in a row, something people thought was impossible in the modern era. He lifted league titles, Copa del Reys, and Ballon d'Ors. Every time the pressure was highest, Ronaldo delivered. In the biggest games, on the biggest stages, he stood tall. Nights in the Champions League became his kingdom. Fans called him Mr. Champions League, because when others cracked under pressure, Ronaldo thrived in it. But while his club career soared, his international career had its own struggles. For years, critics said Ronaldo could not win with Portugal. They mocked him, saying he was only great at clubs, but not with his country. He carried Portugal through tournaments, scoring crucial goals, dragging them forward, but trophies always slipped away. And then came 2016, the European Championship in France. Portugal were underdogs, and many wrote them off before the tournament began. Ronaldo led them through the group stage, through the knockout rounds, and into the final against France. But in that final, tragedy struck. Early in the match, Ronaldo was injured. Tears streamed down his face as he was forced to leave the field. For most players, that would have been the end, but not for Cristiano. Even from the sidelines, he turned into a leader, shouting instructions, motivating his teammates, pushing them to believe. And when the final whistle blew, Portugal were champions of Europe. For the first time in their history, they had won a major international trophy, and Ronaldo had fulfilled a dream not just for himself, but for an entire nation. That moment silenced every critic, every doubter, and it proved that leadership is not just about playing, it is about inspiring. After nearly a decade of dominance at Real Madrid, Ronaldo sought a new challenge. In 2018, he signed with Juventus in Italy. Once again, people doubted him. They said Serie A was too defensive, too slow, too hard for a player past 30. But once again, he proved them wrong. He adapted, he conquered, and he continued scoring at an incredible rate, leading Juventus to multiple league titles and showing that greatness has no age limit. Even in his mid-30s, when most players slow down, Ronaldo kept pushing the limits of human performance. His body was a product of relentless discipline. While others enjoyed fame and comfort, Ronaldo treated every day like he was still that boy from Madeira, fighting for a chance. In 2021, he returned to Manchester United, the club where he first became a star. Fans welcomed him back with open arms, and once again he proved his value, scoring goals and showing leadership in a team going through transition. And then in 2023, he made another bold move, joining Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia, becoming a global ambassador for the sport, proving that even in new territories, his influence was unmatched. But more than the trophies, the goals, or the fame, Ronaldo's true legacy lies in his mindset. He showed the world that success is not about where you start, but how much fight you have inside you. He was never the tallest kid, never the richest, never the most naturally gifted, but he was the most determined. He faced poverty, he faced bullying, he faced health problems, he faced criticism, he faced failure, but he never gave up. He turned pain into power, rejection into motivation, and doubt into fuel. And that is why Cristiano Ronaldo is not just a football legend. He is a symbol of resilience, of discipline, of what it means to push beyond limits. His story teaches us that you will face struggles, you will face critics, you will face moments when quitting feels easier. But if you keep going, if you stay hungry, if you refuse to give up, you can build a life that nobody thought possible. So whenever you feel like giving up, remember the boy from Madeira, the boy who had nothing but a ball and a dream, the boy who became the man who conquered the world. Remember Cristiano Ronaldo, because his story is living proof that success does not belong to the lucky, it belongs to the relentless. And if you want more stories of greatness, more lessons of resilience, make sure you subscribe, stay connected, and never stop chasing your dream, because your time is coming just like his did.